Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Derek's Easy Home Cooking. And today I'm going to show you how I make char siu, or barbecued pork. If you go to a Cantonese deli, you'll see strips of pork glazed in a red sauce and kind of shiny with honey or maltose, and they're very delicious, but they are quite expensive nowadays. And since the pandemic, I have been making it at home, and I will show you how I make my char siu. Everybody makes it a little bit differently, and let's get to it. Now what I have for you here is a pork shoulder roast. It is bone in, and it was on sale this week, and so we're going to just break this down a little. And the first thing I want to do is to take off some of this fat, excess fat. It's nice to have a char siu with a little bit of fat that gives it flavor and keeps it tender, but you don't want big globs of white fat. Generally don't taste very good, and they certainly aren't very good for you. So we're going to trim that off. Okay, and then we're going to cut along the bone here. And the bone you can use for soup and other things. Like I said, this was on sale this week, 99 cents a pound, so it's a great deal. So I'm going to save the bone and some of this other meat for other uses, and we'll work with this. And we'll just cut this into some strips. You can also use the country style ribs, which is basically pork shoulder that's already cut into pieces. It's quite convenient. So you see we have some strips of pork that we've cut up. I've washed my hands and I've put the pork into a heavy-duty plastic bag. And in a bowl I have a 1/4 cup of Hoisin Sauce. And to that I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. And just whisk that together. And then from there, we are going to add a 1/4 cup of honey. And you can just eyeball these measurements really, but I'm just giving you approximate. So let's add the honey, and the honey is gonna just give it a nice gloss. You'll want to have a little more honey for glazing it at the end as well, especially if you want it nice and shiny. Let's get all that out. We're also going to add a couple of tablespoons of sugar, white sugar. Going to add a tablespoon of Shaoxing Wine, that's Chinese cooking wine. I'm going to add some 5-spice powder, about a teaspoon. You really don't want to overdo it. That's a very strong flavor, but that gives it some good flavor. And then we're also going to add some Nam Yue. This is red fermented bean curd. I'm going to add 2 cubes. And I add a little bit of the liquid as well. And if you notice, the liquid in the Nam Yue is red, and so that'll give the char siu some the color. But It also has an incredible flavor, which really adds to the depth of your marinade. And you want to mash that up. And really incorporate, especially since you have sugar and 5-spice. And really incorporate everything in here. Okay. And so the marinade will be pretty thick, which is great because that helps adhere to the meat, soak in better that way. And so just take all this marinade and pour it in to the bag and zip it up real tight. That stuff leaking out. But then you can just kind of get all the meat incorporated into the marinade. And once you've got it all incorporated, put your meat in the refrigerator for overnight to marinate. Now, of course, you might be in a rush and you can maybe go with as little as 2-3 hours of marination, but it really tastes best if you marinate it overnight. So I'll see you all again tomorrow. Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you back to day 2 of our char siu recipe. I'd like to show you this is what the char siu looks like after having been marinated for 24 hours in the refrigerator. And now some people have hooks that they can put in their oven. I don't have that set up, so I've just put some foil, aluminum foil, in a baking tray. And I will slow roast these. I have my oven preheated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will cook them for a total of about an hour and a half, flipping once in between, and I'll be basting it with the marinating liquid, and then at the end I will baste it with some honey to give it that glossy finish. So I will stick this in the oven and we'll be back. And welcome back, folks. Our char siu is finished, and as you can see, it has come out of the oven and it's nice and glossy and beautifully cooked. And I will show you how we slice it now. Okay, here we are, and I just slice it at an angle. Nice thin slices, and look at how juicy and tender and beautiful that is. It's very succulent. So I'll just slice this one piece here. And have a dish on which we can serve it. So there you have it, char siu. And I would like to invite you to join me at the table as we taste it. So as we say, Loi hek fanla, come and eat. So here we are at the table, and I steamed some jasmine rice and I cooked some broccoli rabe. Usually you'd accompany this with some Chinese vegetable, but I don't have anything on hand today. But let's taste our char siu, the finished product. It's got good flavor, the meat's nice and tender, and I think this char siu would rival just about any Chinese deli. So you can make char siu very easily at home, and I hope you'll try this recipe out. And until next time, thanks again for tuning in to Derek's Easy Home Cooking.